Disclaimer. We are two regular guys who love to talk Bone Thugs and Harmony. We do not represent Bone Thugs or any Bone affiliate. We are also not Bone Thugs experts. The views and information you hear in this podcast may be based on personal opinion. Please feel free to leave corrections and clarifying information in the comments. And enjoy. Kick that shit.
Welcome to Beyond the Harmony. I am your host tonight, Jonathan Lippy. Cecil West could not make it tonight. He is experiencing a family emergency, so he put the reins on to me, and I am here with Skin and Bones. Skin and Bones, what's up, man?
Yo, don't cross the bones out, tribe. There's only one truth. I'll see how we doing, man.
For sure. So to start off, I just want to let you know that we have a common friend, a common colleague, and Rob Worth. I was listening to... Yeah. I mean, this is a big-time connect because I was listening to one of your old interviews, like from 2010, and you gave Rob Worth a shout-out, and Mr. Servon and his record label, Worth of Records, they helped me out. So back...
Right, okay, so you were the guys... Yeah. Let me show you how we network. You were the guys that probably did the Smoke Out Fest or something like that, and Biz came out, right?
Oh, that was Cecil West did that with his crew.
See, we streamlined all of that. We were the connect for all of that because basically, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but anyway, flashback to the fast forward, we pretty much connected everybody that way because then they connected with Houdini Blacks, but we had already been associated. And then they basically went around the bend, and at that time, Houdini was doing a lot of the major promotions. But, yeah, they were already in sync and in that energy. Rob was, because in Indianapolis, we did a Mr. Servon showcase. So,
okay. That's
so
awesome.
he came down and pretty connected that way. But, the Seventh Sign was, Bone in general connected to No Limit, and then the Seventh Sign was supposed to do some major things with True Records, by way of No Limit, so to speak, and one thing led to another, and it didn't end up taking off the way it was supposed to. But if you look at the True Dogs compilation that C-Murder did, the original Frontline Homies with Kappa was on there, along with Juvenile and all that. So that's a real good find if you can find one of those True Dogs C-Murder compilation tapes.
Wow, yeah, okay, I'll take a look for that, man. Rob Worth is a big part of my life. Helped me release my album, Mind Over Matrix, in 2005. And he mentioned that you had gone by Deals back then, so that's kind of cool history. We always had multiple aliases, like the Ben A Boys and all that stuff, which we've made known. That's weird, yeah, no doubt. So we kind of just busted right in this right from the gate. But for the listeners, the Beyond the Harmony listeners, they're probably wondering who is Skin and Bones, and do you still go by Skin and Bones, or do you go by Lamonte Co now? So what do you go by?
Well, basically, it's still Skin and Bones. It's always Skin and Bones eternally, But again, when you're doing, we took a lot of tutelage from the Bone and the Wu-Tang tribes. So it's a way of branding. And, we had Skin and Bones. When we officially got put on or put down, introduced 2003, we built with Eliano Nino, and that was basically like the extension of Capo Regime, which was kind of like the second generation, because they were the youngsters. So at that point, we was using these monikers until we knew that one day, as weird as it may sound, we knew based off our hoodoo and our Kabbalah energy at that time, our ancestors was going to place us in a point where we were going to use Skin and Bones, reminiscent kind of what Capone was talking about in his walk, but a little different, But in that, it just seems that that's just how it is when it comes to groups like Wu-Tang, No Limit and Bone, because I'm Caribbean American, but I'm from the Midwest, so that stuff is heavy, you know. That's just, it's something beyond our hand reach, really, you know. And that being said, Lamani F and Co, man, is just a business brand. And, you know, and basically we started doing a lot of stuff with the Skin and Bones and the Bleeding Orchid. So Skin and Bones and the Bleeding Orchid without a dollar sign is its own rock brand, Doomadelic rock band entity. Excuse me. So, of course, we would go by Lamani F and Co, which is, you know, your basic appellation, you know, your normal appellation, you know, because we were already in the band Skin and Bones, which is more like Alice in Wonderland, Alice in Chains, Miller Manson. It was more of a psychedelic doom funk adventure as opposed to Skin and Bones. Dollar Sign was the rap singer extraordinaire, you know what I'm saying, warrior, monk, all of that hip hop encompassed from the 90s all the way up till the early 2000s.
So I believe I heard you said that your journey kind of began in 2003, but like you dropped a ton of stuff in 2010. But I'm kind of missing the dates here. So where would you say the whole hip hop journey or just music journey for you began? I know as a kid you had a lot of Caribbean roots and whatnot, but like I mean as far as pursuing this as a career kind of thing.
Well, you know, it's funny, man, because, again, I want to give shout out to Beyond the Harmony because I'm not going to front. You know, I was skeptical. We've had so many people rape and pillage the Bone, you know, the Bone tribal tree, and I really want to give y'all good energy to your chakras and to your vibrations and your ancestors and your relatives, man, for everything y'all doing on behalf of, you know, what the Bone put down for us by way of Eazy-E. Because, you know, there's so many that want to rape and pillage us because of what we contributed. So to get to your question, it's so weird because when I first really, I mean, of course, you know, first creeping on the come up, first of mine, all those big hits and everything. But, you know, when my cousin Trey, the next factor, which, you know, you'll hear on, you know where you got it from too, which would be under the Skin and Bones moniker. When he came to my aunt's, which is his grandma, he's my second cousin, you know, he had the double cassette, Art of War. Now, again, keep in mind, you know, we were already hip to all the stuff that Bone was doing. But just like you guys were talking about, there was something about Art of War that was just magnifico, that was special. You know what I'm saying? It just had the embodiment of everything that I truly believe that the grandfather Eazy-E wanted, the grandmaster, and everything that he wanted, the Mara mysticism to you know, the streets, what's going on, you know, the ethnicity that everybody synergized off of, reminiscent of Wu-Tang and Pac. So when the Art of War hit, I really realized that, you know, it was possible for indigenous people in America at that point to go back to the roots, even if they were thugging, you know, or drugging or whatever they were doing. You know, it's kind of emotional for me, so y'all got to excuse me. But it was really real, man. Like, you know, God through, you know, E and Bone, they saved a lot of thugs' lives, bro. I mean, they saved our lives, man. They kept us, man. They kept us protected, you know. And that's kind of why we get so attacked. All of us, we get so attacked because when we say thug and harmony, when Bone taught us to thug and harmony, that's what that means. That's Shaolin, man. That's the monastery. That's the mosque. That's the synagogue. You feel me, big dog? It's about that and breaking all barriers, breaking all color lines, man. We went right back to Woodstock, man. You know, when we are brothers, there is no color, and that's what the industry wasn't for sure if they wanted or not, bro. They weren't for sure if they wanted brothers like you to be on one side of the chessboard to help brothers like us on the other side. So they weren't for sure they wanted it. They weren't saying no, but they weren't for sure they wanted it at the speed that it was happening. So, you know, people like, you know, brothers like myself, you know, we heard Art of War, man, and we realized what it was really saying to us in the streets and what it was compelling us to do. And to get on our get our thug monk on, man. Man, everybody was having like CC, Big CC said, man, everybody was getting their thug on, man, with thug devotion out there in the streets. Especially when Heaven's movie hit, man. When Heaven's movie hit, we realized, you know, we could be choir thug boys, man. We don't have to hide it. We sing and we harmonize and we're spiritual and we're into the feminine aspect, but we're not emasculated. We didn't have to hide that no more. Pocket already blazed the trail, but they made it official. You know, we could sing, bro. We could sing. We didn't have to hide it. But at the same time, we couldn't be loud about it. We had to be discreet. So that's what, you know, the Art of War did, and then Heaven's movie did for us. Because Thugs Cry, you know, like I always tell my peoples, man, Busy basically was our Prince, man, our Michael Jackson. I don't care what no one says. Even as you look at his definitive work, And no disrespect to the life to our Bone family, man. We know we Big Cray, Big Wish for life appearing and lazy and Big Flesh, and busy, who hold down the structure of that Bone infrastructure because they all branched out and made trees for leaves. So, but what we're getting at is when B blazed the trail, and one of you guys covered that, he was like, man, fuck this shit, man. We about to start singing, man. You know what I'm saying? We thugs in harmony. We about to start singing like a motherfucker. Fuck this hiding shit anymore. We about to sing, and he got ridiculed. Truth be told, because Cass was like, wait a minute. I remember growing up, Cass was saying, man, Bone think they some apostles now. They in all white sheets and white robes. They think they apostles. So Bone was getting ridiculed from their own people because we weren't talking about just killing people all the time and murdering no more. So they raised up a whole new generation of thugs, true, some believe, united gathering souls, true housing, underground sound, or shit, as Big Lady said. You put it out there. So again, Art of War was just that strike and really heaven smoothie, man. And of course we can't forget about Mo Thugs because I was heavily influenced by the Graveyard Shift. Heavily. Rest in peace, Tombstone. Heavily influenced by the Graveyard Shift. And, and hated that Gates left, when he did, because Gates was my favorite. Then Tombstone, then Sin. You know what I'm saying? So Rumors of War and Killing Fields, that was initially my kind of style. And then, of course, Poetic Hustlers, because when you look at it, Poetic Hustlers and the Graveyard Shift were like Bone split, the atom, the nucleus split right in half. You got the real eerie, gothic, edgy stuff from Graveyard Shift. Then you got the real harmonious, uplifting poetry from Poetic Hustlers. You see what I'm saying? So, again, it takes special people to be a part of this chain gang, and so you can't just join in. You have to be born into it some kind of way. So this is why individuals who tried to take on the archives and do stuff with us, after a while, we had to just shut stuff down and go independent, like even from the BTNH board, because we had people trying to be our handlers and stuff. And the way I look at it is BTNH board sold for $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Why weren't these people out here pushing, Houdini Black, pushing Q Local, pushing Miss Local? Why were they so envious of us as fans? When I came in, everybody was like, Skinner Bones, man, he's getting his push and stuff, but why is Bone going through what they're going? I can't control what Big Cray does with his career. I don't got no control over what Big does over his career. If they don't want to listen to Dre Ghost, Unique, or the Easy E for a moment, that's their prerogative. But as for me, I'm going to go over here this way with Dre Ghost, or I'm going to go over here this way with Houdini, or I'm going to go over here this way with so-and-so. You know what I mean? It's still Bone, man. It's still the family. Everybody got their own right to make their own decisions, but the fans sometimes got too distracted over what the lack there was, and we needed their support. We needed them to be like the WWE, man. We needed y'all to be like the WWE universe. And to a degree they were. But they caused more separation within our tree sometimes than we did. Yeah,
and it's kind of strange too, because it's like it was laid out with Mo Thugs to kind of say, hey, there's more than us, and you got to support all these guys, and they did a great job at promoting all these guys, and I think the fan base embraced a lot of the original series of Mo Thugs, and then I guess it just kind of got out of line. But yeah,
I mean, it's understandable. Don't get me wrong, Big L. Like, honestly, I'm not cracking the whip at any of our fans. Like, they have the right to like who they like. I'm not saying they should like Capone, then they should like me. What I'm saying is, if people understood the mythos or understood the mythology of what Bone Thugs and Harmony / family tribal tree is really about, then they would just do it off the strength. Like Wu-Tang has over 100 families and counting still. Yeah. And you don't see people trying to throw stones at Killer Priest or Nice Prince or, you know what I'm saying, because they not always in a picture with RZA. You feel me? Killer Priest is one of the most independent, stupendous affiliates outside the original nine, alongside with Capadonna. And most people don't know he dropped a double album a few years ago, which had Aguilar from Purple City on there. It had Rekwan. It had RZA producing a few tracks. It had George Clinton. And they wouldn't even let him put it out on the CD shelf. You had to go and get it from Amazon. Some of this stuff is a push and pull with the industry. People have to understand that. And the fans have to stand up for us. Like, when you stand up for Skinner Bones, you're standing up for Busy Bone, Crazy Bone, Lazy Bone, because it's their legacy. When you stand up for Capone, if he drops something, then you standing up for Bone. But my thing is, why stand up for an affiliate at the time that made it clear to you he doesn't want or she doesn't want to drop any music? You can encourage the person till the cows come home. Encourage those that are still holding down the chain gang in the line. You feel me? So we say a lot for you guys.
Right. So I kind of see what you're saying. There was people that kind of like hung it up, and it's like, hey, let those be, and let this new generation come on. These are the hungry guys.
Absolutely.
These are the guys trying to bring it to you. Okay.
What you guys are doing, you guys are deep space fucking nine. You feel me? Ain't nobody worried about Star Trek The Next Generation. Like Seven Son, man. We three generations plus deep. That's why so many people attacked us. It was like, well, wait a minute. They didn't get no co-signers, man. We are the co-signers. What are you saying? What do you mean? That's like telling Busy he can't be solo.
So I guess, I mean, hey, this is an opportunity to kind of hype the fans to the mythology and what is kind of going on. Like, what do you want them to understand about how to approach these affiliates and the whole network?
Well, I got to give big shouts out to Kane, baby. Big shouts out to Kane. Got to give shouts out to Jay Loyal, J Mac, who's solo from the Immortal Thugs, went up to the EMT. Got to give shouts out to Capone. He need to hurry up and drop something, though. You can tell him I said that because he knows how we feel about that. But he's coming more and more out of his shell, with the freestyles and all that. We want to give shouts out to, I think I said Houdini Black. We want to give shouts out just to any and everybody who's still doing it. Weezy, Baby Phil, he's going through the same. Black Caesar, I talked to him. Regular Q Loco might be getting out soon, the underboss, you feel me? I mean, I ain't got to say nothing about Big Cray. Cray do his thing, do what he want to. I mean, he keeps the engine going. Of course, we got the Mo Thugs 1 and 2 best of, and the thing about it is Big Tay Smalls, he's still out there, maneuvering and making things happen behind the scenes, you feel me? So at the end of the day, Big L, it's just like, it ain't really about to center nobody out. All I can tell the fans is be like the WWE universe. Don't get distracted okay, because you have to realize how many times has Bone, based off of whatever they had to do, had to confirm something or deny it. But certain things rolled anyway. They, like one of y'all said, they tell you not to get the tapes, you go and get them anyway. You see what I'm saying? So if you're strong enough of an individual with the freedom of speech and choice to do that, then don't let anything else distract you from what we do on that Piff, my mixtapes, or wherever we're putting stuff out at, because really we're doing it for you, because my main thing with Books of Nomad was everybody kept saying a few years back, we want the creeping on the come up. We want the eternal 1999 sound and style. And the thing is, why do y'all keep trying to make middle-aged men, be murderers? That's what I'm pissed out about. You want them to stop doing what they're doing with their kids, go kill somebody? I'm like, okay. So for the ones that are out here kind of thugging their, in harmony in their own way and really can speak on certain things, no, they ain't worth shit. But got the love and the features and stuff from the fam bam, and y'all shit on us like, so, Beyond the Harmony, man, to us, I'm putting my sample, like I put a hex on anybody talk against y'all now. Because we on some real mystic. We ain't on that fugazi stuff over here where everybody wants to put on the show, put on this and that. Listen, we are always watching out for you, man. The all-seeing eye is always prevalent and omnipotent. And people can't talk about what they don't know. I don't care how many YouTube pages you watch and view. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you can't talk about what you haven't seen. And what we talk about or what we confess, let that be the admission for the test. Don't be worried about stuff that ain't been mentioned. And I have to say, you guys have done your homework. You guys are the best. And just the short months that you've been out, shout out to Abraham's son. Shane, man, big ups to him. You guys are doing the damn thing. Y'all not trying to change anything. Y'all kind of trying to put it in order the way that they just did for Mitrium and Israel and all Timbuktu and Babylon all these years back, thousands and thousands of years back. Now motherfuckers can understand what is going on. All these people talking about they selling my sauce, they selling my drip. Okay, well then who was the first motherfucker to be harmonizing then? You tell me that. Tell me where you got that from. Because like I said in plenty of interviews, I know that Big Lay stayed in ATL, and we know that Big Cray was running through there with Relay and all of that. So you don't think they were ear hustling all that time? You don't think people was on their dick swinging like Tarzan? Come on, man. Come on. And that's no disrespect to the A. I love the A. Shout out to Schoolie, Tap One from the Shot, and 2 Chainz. And I'm down with Young Thug and Johnny Sink and all that kind of shit. Big King from New Orleans by way of ATL. Because to me, they show respect. Jacquez, they show respect. Regardless of what you want to say about Birdman and them, they at least give us respect. They show us love. Even Master P, they show us love. At one point, Third Line was trying to be a part of the Third Line before it was a light. I know that for a fact. You feel me? But a lot of stuff just was not ready, man. It wasn't time for certain things, and a lot of opportunities were abandoned. We had a $50,000 deal for From Your Righteousness. I've only mentioned it one other time. We had $50,000 on the table. I don't even disclose who it was. And Elion, El Padrino, you know what I mean, was so self-absorbed with himself, he couldn't even see that, man, if you break that in the right direction, everybody can get a few stacks out of that. You feel me?
Right.
Busy had already been paid. He'd already been paid. And rumor has it, strong rumor has it, Big L, that he didn't even like the album. And it was one of his most commemorated, most praised projects that you'll never hear. It was the album that was supposed to merge The Gift with Resurrection and Heaven's Movie, and that's exactly what it was. He was the new Prince because he was one of the first rappers, singers, OG rap singers outside of Prince, who was an R&B artist musician that went to the internet the way that he did outside of Wu-Tang, chambermusic.com. He was the first, next to Bone Thug affiliated, if you remember that.
Yeah, no, Busy was really early in the game. In fact, I think the beginning and the end was an internet album release back before most people even knew how to market on the internet. So he was definitely early on. Yeah, the busybone.com early on. And but speaking of all that,
first video, streams.
Yeah, oh yeah, and people was, don't try to hustle me. Yeah, and don't try to hustle me. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. From out there, you got a good history, bro.
Oh man, I was in Columbus, man. We're within the body, you got it. On passenger side with Elion, man, playing it in his radio, man, and in the CD player, man. That shit bumping, sounded so beautiful. We was touching the spirit of Aaliyah, bro. We was touching the spirit of Eazy-E. We was touching the spirit of Tupac and Biggie when he tapped into that song, bro. This shit's for real, man. This music's for real. You cocksuckers out there that's hating on my family and them, y'all need to stop that shit, man, before these spirits come and get you. Because this is real life you're playing with. You're playing with people's souls. You feel me? When y'all put them records in, y'all playing with people's uncles, aunts, nieces and nephews and brothers and cousins. You feel me, bro? That's somebody's son you're listening to, man. That's somebody's lover. That's somebody's dad. Somebody's uncle.
That's why the music's so dang powerful, man, out the camp, man, because it's straight from not just the soul, but it's from the astrals and all those other regions and dimensions. So, as you said at the beginning of the soul, it's from dimensions and galaxies. But Future Thugs and Harmony, I heard you mention Future Thugs and Harmony, FTNH, but I never fully kind of grasped what was going on with that. So what's up with Future Thugs and Harmony?
If I could kiss you on your forehead like Yahushua or David Tyler, I would. Mwah. Thug month kiss to you, brother. No homo. Because I love that, man. No homo. Like, yeah, man, that was actually, you know, of course it came from the Capo regime and Busy spread it, but actually what we were doing was, before Flames excommunicated himself, who was a part of Henchman, by default, it was Baby Phil, myself, Lil Chico, and Flames. And that was the Future Thugs and Harmony, man. So that was the initial lineup. You know what I mean? And we were, you know, I got one song from that era, and I'll release it soon. Matter of fact, give you guys just make sure they can't download it, but they can stream it. I'll give you the exclusive release of Family Tree, which is me, Chico, and J-Mac. Oh, it was J-Mac, my bad. And J-Mac was used to call him Little Flesh and Bone, because, you know, he's Flesh and Lazy's little brother. You feel me? You know what I mean? Just got different mothers. So, yeah, so that's one of the brothers that stood tall. You know, there was a misconception between, you know, Big J. Well, I say he's my little big brother. You know, Jay, because, you know, at the time I was doing a lot of liaison work and things. And once again, you know, some of the people he was dealing with, they tried to, you know, and, you know, of course, when you say bone, everybody gets excited. So they just tried to take advantage of the wrong way and sabotage the deal. We had to actually do a mini tour where at the time it was Jeezy's management team. And we were going to get Powder P on there. Big Scales from the 7 Sign, Big D, Nina Ross from the South, not Nina Ross, the original, myself, J-Mac, and we had set up a rider and everything, and we were just going to put on Lazy and Busy for the Bone Brothers. But before we could get all that started, one of the people who were dealing with B at the time, I just won't say his name, but he basically tried to put, as Big Skill called the squeeze-out game. He tried to get the whole pie for himself, and the nucleus was the future. It was us that was putting that together. So rather than him sitting back, letting us do what we needed to do and then get a piece of it, he tried to kick the whole pie, blah, 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 whatever. And hey, man, I took the C4 and I blew that shit the fuck up, man, and said that's not happening, So if we can't eat as a future, then why should all these old buzzards eat? If it ain't Lay, B, Cray, Wish, and Flesh at the head of the table, then we need to eat.
Yeah, and I wonder why, because I hear this kind of happen over and over again, and I wonder what people are thinking, because if you spread the pie and you spread the love, you're going to have a longevity, a long-term relationship, long-term business relationships. If you try to screw people over, you're going to be one and done. So, I mean... Right, well,
it made J-Mac upset, who they call Lil Mac. It made J-Mac upset because in the end, he eventually started politicking with, Houdini, big ups to them, only one and all that. They're with us in the conglomerate as well. And they understood what we was doing, to the point to where, it just kind of made it was just a bad look. But we had already been to Cleveland. By that time we got to Cleveland, man. It was when Busy had the Song for You in simultaneous release with Ruthless. We had a T-shirt made. It happened to be his birthday. It was in September. Baby Phil had already made it good for us to come out. J-Mac was waiting on us, man. I got on the stage. J-Mac, man, swung me around like I was a mop top, 10 pounds wet. You know what I'm saying? And I was a little taller than this, man, so it made me feel just loved all the way around. Big Scales. It was Thug Line at the time. Was Before the Lights, Mo Thugs, and the 7 Sign, all on one stage at Peabody in Cleveland, Ohio. So I'm saying, big family reunion. It was beautiful. I'm talking about Terry T, who shot Chopping Blades for J-Mac's video at the time, was shooting a mini movie. Man, we had Low Key out there, the dude we knew named Low Key. Man, Baby Phil was like, you straight, everything good. He got us there, did his song. B came in there with an all-white suit that he had with his fro out curly the way it was during the time of Bone Brothers and Creeping when he had his hair unbraided. And he was like, how did Baby Phil do, man? Baby Phil do all right? He was looking back, asking everybody, And they're like, Baby Phil going to represent, man. Come on, man. So, it was all good, man. That was my first major induction into La Cosa Nostra, La Familia Bone Gang, you know what I'm saying? So that's what it was, man. But, to get back to the whole thing of it all, it's just really one of them situations, Big L, where, everybody's just trying to keep their place and elevate. But at the end of the day, there's a pecking order. And it's just like, I want to clear the air for anybody who heard the Flames interview. And I want to give it a shout out to him if he never had clarity. One thing about this, man, this is like mobocracy. It's the political side of being organized, minus any crime or criminal activity. It's a mobocracy. So at the end of the day, you just have to know, you have to get in where you fit in and play your part to the end. Not just sit in there, get all under the elbows, and that's like you can hustle one of these brothers. You feel me? You got to get in there and work and do your thing. When Bone laced us up with boots, whether it was through Crazy, Thug Line, whoever, Mo Thug, Stallone and them, whatever, Scambone, whether it was Busy and Q Loco and them or whatever, after, Capo on them, Pat Stone, rest in peace, Rock on them, you have to lace your boots up, and when you hit the ground, you need to be running like Flash. You feel me? That's that. Because they ain't going to be holding your hands like you a 5-year-old, bro. And that was the misconception of a lot of affiliates, Flames was like, he was upset about, being in a team. And so basically, I'm not even tripping on, I don't even think it was true they got upset about, how he was trying to move forward. But the bottom line was he had a song with Big Leg, and it had Lloyd at the time. He was really hot, Lloyd from Murder Inc. And they, they are family too from a distance, much love, and he was Lloyd from Murder Inc. So it was Lloyd, Lazy Bone, Big Leg, and Flames. Well, word got around, this mug was about to blow because he had Big Hess in there from the land from Cleveland behind him. But the problem was, Lay was like, okay, you about to get your running shoes. That's $50,000, man. You feel me? It's $50,000, for that song. I mean, and it's real smart and intelligent at this time, though, because I'm going to keep it 100. We've all paid some type of dues, but that's just because, again, we all know what Laying and went through, man. Any real OG or any young BG know what it's about. Like, let me keep it 100% real with you to show you how this is sometimes. I was over at Peabody's at that same event I was telling you about. I seen, Big Lil Stu, because I'm still over him, but hey, he'll knock any Monty Cole out if they cross him wrong. So I walk up to the little big OG, and I'm like, yo, what's up? You know what I'm saying? I'm your big, I'm your blood cousin, whatever. He said, get the fuck away from me. You feel me? Like, just like that. That's just how it is, because they're very protective. And, at the end of the day, I didn't really have much to be worried about. But just like the big dogs told me, he said, hey, he could have been drunk and mad at the time. You feel me? When you get in those introductions. So you really can't take a lot of stuff personal when it comes to Bone and the extended, conglomerate, because we just don't know what they're going through at the time. Now, I came in a very unique situation. I came in, through the Godfather, Crossroads, Dragos, Andre Bell. The reason why y'all love Bone on top of why you love Bone. And always never forget it and let it be said once and for all, and I promise you, anybody that hears this interview and tries to raise up against anybody for supporting this statement or attacking me in the future, I promise you when I'll see you now, I'm going to put a hex on each and every one of you, because this is the truth. And it's time for the truth to come out, because obviously the all wanted it to be so, or we wouldn't be having this interview. So DJ Dragos, the one that you see on the back of Eternal, and also played a major part in Art of War, was the reason why the Crossroads was remade. Because the story goes, Big Unique came to Big Ghost because they had gone back long way back, high school DJ party. And, the Godfather Dragos obviously had a reputation for remixes, because, remixes back then was really big. So he said, yo, I need you to flip this. They call it flipping. I need you to flip this track, Dre, you know what I'm saying, and make this shit pop. Let's do something different. So, Big Dre, my mentor, my homie, which is Big Lay's big homie and family, on the motor side, he was like, yo, okay. So he said he took a few weeks or whatever, listened to it, made it. Long story short, as he rode around with it for how many weeks he did, he popped it to Unique. They popped it to the label. He said at one point he rode through, said, yo, how many of y'all pressing up? Of that. They said, we figured we'll do about 250, 1,000 copies, maybe 500. He said, that ain't going to be enough. And from what we understand, it was said, one of the reps said, so you really think it's going to do that, huh? He said, absolutely. And I tell you what, Big L, everybody been trying to make it back to that fucking mountaintop with Eazy-E every fucking chance. You feel me?
Yeah.
Every cent. And nobody can duplicate it. You gotta, who you come to eat with, you gotta stay with. Even if you venture off, you eventually gotta come back to that table. Whoever taught you how to chess box, you better go right back to that teacher, because that's the one that's gonna show you how to knock a monic phone out. You feel me? So that's why we here. That's why we here. That's why we ain't leaving. And everybody like, oh, this and that. Bone is the only group. And I say it once and I said it again on my Instagram. When I said it to Hack 100, the reason why Game probably loved the OG beat the way it does is because we dropped Belly. Nobody ever knows the story why Belly was dropped. See, because the thing is, I'm not mad if somebody come to Big BB Gambino and says we want a deal. We heard about this artist and I never hear about it or get nothing from it. Because guess what? That's what it's about. If it's meant for me, I'm going to get it regardless, and I've been getting it ever since. They started it. They deserve first dibs until otherwise noted. That being said, we made the Belly based off the fact we didn't like Belly, the movie. We said, damn, we can make a soundtrack better than that, because it was a cross between Belly 2, Stop Snitching, Stop Lying. If you look at the cover, that's why we had the bone flag around our face with the one out instead of up to our face, because we love that tape from Game, Stop Snitching, Stop Lying. But then we thought they could have done better with, the Billionaires Boys Club or whatever they did. So there's no doubt in my mind when the independent subsidiary finally picked this up, and it was one of the first online distribution companies to do so after Sean Parker did all that shit with Napster and stuff. We got put out in 2010 with the EP. Now, another good fact about that is we was in Hollywood, California with the Big Dragos and Boneyard Empire Management, Deja Vu, and Mercedes, a.k.a. your girl Blaze, shots out. They looked out, picked us up. We were stranded for 28 hours at the bus station. One-way bus ticket, man, from Afghanistan all the way to, California. And we got here to Los Angeles, man, we got stranded. Swine flu and everything. Matter of fact, though, we was over there at that CD booth where you can get CDs, make your own CD from the iTunes at the time. It was the only place that had machines like that. Scant Bone was in the machine, and Big Cass was in the machine at the time. It was crazy, like, wow. They was making units. So they picked us up. After 28 hours, we got up to James Renier from BoneThugStory.net. They got out to Uncle Dre. He had the females pick us up. We went out there to him, went to the Crossroads of America, which your boy Romeo was telling you about. We went there that's where they recorded the first of the month, recorded all them songs from Eternal 1990. It was beautiful, man. It was good to see the Don, the uncle, man, of fucking Bone Thugs and Harmony. You know what I mean? We got to give it to him. Yeah, Dre gave it to him. I'm not Dre, but Unique gave it to him. But, Big Dre was never the person to sit there and say, look at me, look at me. I got a 9-inch dick. You see what I'm saying? He just did what he did for the family because it made sense. And he knew that if one person got on, everybody should have got on. But it just wasn't making sense based off of politics that had nothing to do with me. But the funny thing about that is, in some instances, those politics still follow us to this day, which is the very reason why some new wave rappers / singers don't want to give Bone their just desserts. So when motherfucking Migos cross the gun line boss, when motherfucking Whack 100 cross the gun line boss, when any of these nappy-headed Monty Cones want to cross the gun line, since they talk about they into the mystic arts and the esoteric knowledge, fuck with somebody whose family comes directly from that shit. I didn't have to born in, or none of that shit. Because my hope was already there. And we don't play that shit. These motherfuckers is the first OGs to bring that shit to the game besides Wu-Tang and X-Clan. And Wu-Tang. I'll say Wu-Tang. X-Clan. So let's get that overstood. Next to the Dog Man X who would come later. So all this shit, man, is rehashed, Bone Thugs and Harmony, and the affiliates. You know where you fucking got it from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's interesting that the two groups that did branch off with affiliates, Bone and Wu-Tang, are the two last standing in the whole rap game from the 90s. So spread the wealth. It plays out. It works. And
we did the Bone Box. And we did the Bone Box together. I wasn't a part of it.
Yeah, can you tell me about the Bone Box?
Shit. Yeah, basically, I hear Big Cass the props, man. Motherfuckers hating on Big Cass. I don't know why, because everybody, if they didn't know, he didn't make it hidden knowledge. So Big Lay, forgive me, Big Uncle, if I'm out of line, you know what I'm saying? I curse myself, but I don't think it's a secret that everybody knew that Big Lay, with the label was in trouble for 7 years with the IRS for whatever reason, whether that was authentic or not. They came after the big dog. So Big Cass, he told you that in the DVD. So Big Cass came along, masked up, and because they were thugs, they understood where he was coming from. They started talking business because Big Cass had a distribution with Sony, which his imprint was called Glass House. Then he said, I'll just come in and take over the affairs for you, get it right, and so forth and so on. And that's where that come in. So basically, people like Big Cass rejuvenated and brought life back to the brand, whether people appreciate it or not. People have to understand you have to move units. You have to be relevant for a brand to continue to stay relevant. The fact that you guys trade is what makes us legendary. But you guys have to continue to go to Google Play, go to all these places and purchase units, because that's how they pay attention to what's going on. That's how we stay relevant in the game. You get what I'm saying? So when Big Cass made that move with X-Ray Distribution, that's when It's Not a Game came out. That's when the Thug Line Boss came out. They were able to take songs and re-release them that were no longer available because the BoneThugAffiliate.com was no longer up. They were able to do all that because of what Big Cass and Laybone did together. You see what I'm saying? So the Bone Box was like the pinnacle of what hip-hop should have been from the start, what Pop was going to do with One Nation. They basically did with the Bone Box. Nas on there, you know what I'm saying? Wu-Tang on there. I think Mobb Deep was on there.
Yeah, that one just came out of nowhere. And, speaking of all the travels you've been doing, so you have an album called Book of Nomad, and you call yourself the Nomad Wanderer. So, where have your travels taken you? You were talking about Afghanistan to California, So, and you don't drive either, right? And you said you don't drive?
Right. You do
That's
your
amazing.
thing, man. Where have you been all our lives, man? We've been needing you to be our Dan Rather, you and Cecil for a long time. But hey, it's the one when he chooses, that's what it is. Yeah. So Afghanistan is a nickname for Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm going to tell you, man, I was the last affiliate outside of the West Coast or OH10, Ohio, to get in there next to the Philippines and Detroit for the Mo Thug brand. So that's when I say Afghanistan, not actually Afghanistan. But, yeah, I've been to 130 United States when we were out there traveling, getting out there to California, you know, to where the Goddess Kali is out there. We went to Texas. We went to Las Vegas. We've been to Colorado or Arizona, New York, Chicago. We've been to Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? We've been a lot of places, mostly on the south side, west side of the country. The East Coast, like I said, New York, we in Harlem, Manhattan. We've been to, you know, those few spots, those hot spots in the Bronx. So, you know, I mean, we've been a lot of places. So Books and Nomad, again, was kind of like a template for Creeping on the Come Up / Book of Eli. Before the Book of Eli had even come out, I was already on. I had my little cane sword. I had my fatigues, which is kind of like combining the imagery of Art of War with the whole ruggedness of Creeping on the Come Up. And so it was for the fans because we have released it, pre-released it in the Bone Board. But it's now getting a whole proper revisit, revise, however you want to call it, reimagine with the right DJs and all that. We wanted to do it that way. So we put it out there for a 7-year anniversary. And basically it's imagined in the way it finally should be because we began to get so much material. We wanted to stockpile it in chronological order. So you got Belly, which kind of comes off like Eternal with Art of War. Then you get, you know, Creeping on the Come Up, which kind of has like Creeping on the Come Up mod with Thug World Order. It's just that all energy, but it's gritty hip-hop from a Nas perspective or a Lynch Mob perspective. And that's what the fans always said they wanted. But I think they just put too much pressure on the Bone, to be honest. You know, I think it's just not fair to put pressure on grown-ass men who have children and stuff to do. Like, if the fans without Bone saying so, don't wait for Bone to tell you so, even if they say no. Because sometimes, you know, an OG, whether it's your uncle, your grandfather, your dad, it's not going to always just nod their head and everything if they real men. They're not just going to, you know, what I'm saying is from the heart. You don't have to, like, mar it and be like, oh, but Skin and Bone said, no, just take it from the heart with logical thinking, with logistics. Use common sense. Use your head for more than a hat rack, like my Uncle Poppy used to tell me. Use your head for more than just a hat rack, and use common sense and see that Bone shouldn't have to tell you that kind of stuff. McMahon don't have to tell the WWE universe who to push. Sometimes they want to push one cat, and the WWE universe is pushing somebody else. Because, you know, he ain't never been big on small wrestlers. But Rey Mysterio Jr. got his push. CM Punk got his push because they were rugged, raw, and real from the heart. They didn't want to hear nothing about no Hulk Hogan or none of these other cats that were coming out. So that's what we need in the Bone universe. We need more of the fans to be like, yo, let's just stockpile and buy some. Let's just do it because. I mean, it's a digital era. Y'all are in such control, y'all don't even know. But that's not for you to abuse as fans. Don't try to treat us like we picking cotton for y'all, though. Can we be like united humbly? You know what I'm saying? Gathering souls. You know, does anybody have to have a whip in their hand?
And that's one of the things we definitely push on Beyond the Harmony is the collector aspect, and also suggesting that in the interim periods when the official Bone Thugs and Harmony don't have albums coming out, you got all these other affiliates to enjoy. So enjoy the affiliates in the downtime, and then when Bone finally comes along and drops a solo or a group album, that's when you pay your attention back to Bone. But don't force Bone to release 24 hours a day.
In that order, that way. Yep.
Exactly. So now on this whole thing, let's kind of go into Seven Sign a bit. I always hear you mention the first, second, and last generations of Seven Sign. So can you am I even saying that right? So is it the first, second, and last?
So I always do that to keep from being long-winded, but it's really like a first. I mean, this is official, unofficial, because if you do your homework, you'll see what I'm saying is true. But it's really a first, second, and third / last generations, because your first generation is encompassed just in the album, follow the album. The first album, Seven's movie, right? Now, keep in mind, Seven Sign, in fact, was the first label offspring of Mo Thug. Yes, Lazy is the head guy and Crazy was the co-sign until he went and did more with the line, the Thug line, and then go into the Life. But as a conglomerate Motown for thugs in Harmony that were coming in on the label, yes, Seven Sign was that official offspring or branch from that. So you got that. Seven Sign / Mota / whatever else. We know that. Okay, so that's the first generation. Everybody you see on there, all the names is mentioned. But now we got to consider that Capo Regime was an extension, like Seven Sign was an extension from Mo Thugs. So then Capo Regime had Bayfield, Rasu, Josiah, all of them cats that were in there while being connected to Scale and Q and Majesty, right? And then from there, they had their brothers, which ended up kind of being Elion and then all that. And then I came in alongside that whole movement. But keep in mind, before I even met Elion, when I first met Bone was 2003, right after Capo had been assassinated. Because they came down to a place called Howard County and in Diana, the state in Diana, and they performed. And at the time, you know, Big Gambino was taking it hard, you know what I'm saying? He just lost his brother. So I run up on your side real peaceful, like, I'm like, yo, man, are you Capo? And he said, no, brother, Capo was no longer with us. He said, I'm Josiah. I'm like, wow. And I started bugging out. I was, you know, I already had a few drinks, so I'm crying and stuff. You would have thought that Pocket died again or something, you know? My whole thing was like, man, this was our equivalency to the return of the Outlaws. And whoever did it, man, knew that. Whatever this system was that was created throughout by the gods, for the gods, the God children, they know that, man. Let's just keep it 100. They knew what they were doing, whoever did it, however they did it. The same way they do what they was doing when they took Tombstone from us, bro. Hey, this, you know, this. If you look at it, Seven Signs, you know, and it's like I'm listening to myself speak because I'm like, Father, I know I got the gods with me because if I didn't know my voodoo, hoodoo, and Kabbalah was strong, I wouldn't say this shit, but I don't give a fuck at this point. Because it needs to be talked about. We need to let the dead bury the dead and be recognized what they have contributed to rap singing and hip hop. And motherfuckers, whoever did it, however, whatever, they knew what they was doing, man. Because if you look at it, Seven Sign is the only group out of the Bone regime that has lost the most members. Period.
Yeah, it almost seems like almost the whole first generation, I guess, is gone except this.
Absolutely. Now you catch the vibe. So with that being said, you know, like I told you, that was first generation through the Heavens movie. Then the whole time the young big homies, which were we all around the same age, and you're talking late 70s, early 80s, you know, past B, like more like 79, 80, that kind of thing. Okay, so we come in, but I'm way back over here in Indiana. I'm over here in between Chicago and Ohio, right? I'm over in here in the Midwest boot section. So this whole time they're doing their thing. Elion finally sets up, you know, a studio and all that, and does it like he always reminded me of Irv Gotti, man. He went Irv Gotti on them to keep things pushing. So this is when it was time, and the compilation came out, and the video Glory and all that. So you had Rasu, Elion, Josiah, Baby Phil, you know what I'm saying, doing their damn thing, man, just holding it down the way you see Bloodline Stick doing it now. That's what that was. And at this time, Busy's just done, like he told you when he prophesied on Heaven's movie. He said, I'm a soldier at the TVC meet when they bring back 3D. So he had already begun to do and all that was on Uncut. Then by the time you fast flash over to 2000 and I'll say 3 and 4, which is the Alpha and Omega. So that's when they launched the second generation. Now, keep in mind, concurrently, they had songs in the vault. Now, Weezy ended up being, if you could imagine, X-Men. She was like the white, I don't know if y'all know about comic books, but I be in it like that. She was like the white queen, or the Rogue from Age of Apocalypse. If you read the Age of Apocalypse comic book, Rogue ended up being the wife of Magneto and taking care of the X-Men of that time era. So she wasn't what you say married to Busy or anything, but she was like the spiritual mother, because she came off that whole first generation, but she really was more prevalent in the second generation, producing, recording, and doing a lot of stuff. Love you, Weez. You know, her and I haven't talked in a while, but man, you know, she did all that. Her, Baby Phil and stuff, once things started splintering apart, because, again, Elion at that time was cool, getting features and stuff for B, but, man, he was so self-absorbed. And I wouldn't have had no problem with him blowing up, doing whatever he needed to do. But a lot of cats, when they got close to Busy, man, they just get possessive, they get all crazy, and they ruin it for everybody. And it's not just Elion, but to be honest, you know, we went out there, we kicked it, you know, For the Love of Money with Flames when Busy first did that feature. That's what set Flames, you know, trail to blaze. You feel me? But the thing about it is that most people just didn't realize what they were getting to was too late. So, you know, Elion eventually got excommunicated, however, whatever. And, you know, at this time, he had been dealing with a lot of people, even your Pyramid Reels or your David X's who did Roll with the Bone, which is on the West Coast mostly. That's one of my, basically, he apprenticed under myself because he was kind of shifting my direction. He's from Chicago, which we know that was a rarity, too, to have people from the Chicago area to even be down with Bone, even though Big Lay and his family is from Chicago. That kind of stuff was kept under wraps because of the industry thing. You feel me? A lot of this stuff had to do with how the industry wanted things to roll. So if people found out that Big Lay and them's family was in Chicago by way of his dad and stuff like that, you know, that just would have made it all bad for business because now we can't get Crucial Conflict and Bone to fight each other on record. You know, we got to keep that to ourselves. You feel me? But see, God, of all gods, when the eye is seeing all, has a way of letting that Cyclops ray, that beam come out. Starship Enterprise style, and there you get your boys like Capone coming through. When the mystic spirit sends somebody like Capone in to wreck that up, he said, "There's motherfucking monsters, smoke thusters, untouchable thusters," you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that whole thing, you know. And then, of course, you got to look at Josiah. They have family from Chicago, even though they're from Columbus. You feel me? So that's why in the Alpha Omega, you see them over in Chicago so deep. So they Busy finally just decided to kind of move in silence, but still try to put as much light as he could on what was really going down. So that brings in Rick Robinson because he played a part in that extension of the second into the third generation, because during this time when they were down in Howard County in Indiana State, this is his album release party after doing I'm Going to Roll with the Mob, which had Cuckoo Cal, who was big at the time, and had Busy, and they had done a video which hardly none of us ever seen. I don't know what they did with it because, you know, this was pre-Cambrium major internet activity. The internet was just starting to really heat up. You feel me? You know, so we didn't really have a video we got to see, but Cuckoo Cal and Busy had shot a video with Double R, but no one ever really got a chance to see it. So anyway, Rick Rob was down there, B was down there. We get up in a VIP. I bring my cousin X Factor, who y'all probably heard on some songs if you listen to any of the tapes. He's been a long mainstay of my branch of the regime fam or whatever. And so we was up in there doing our thing, man, and we stayed in contact. I was supposed to have released a project via Rick Rob's hand, Double R's hand, called The Last Street Preacher. One thing led to another. He found, you know, Christianity. I'm not going to say religion. He found Christianity and did whatever he did. And so from that point, he still stayed cool. Next thing we know, we think B, you know, is just kind of shut off from everything that's happened. Then finally Alpha Omega come out. So what people don't really understand is the whole in the beginning, the ending basically was kind of like an era after, you know, the initial Heaven's movie, which was more so kind of like everything that was going on during Resurrection. All you had to do really to find out a generation is to listen to the sound quality. Listen to how the beat sounds.
I agree with that. And when I got Alpha and Omega, I felt like it was, well, even when I got The Gift, I felt like it was a lot different from Heaven's Movie, but Alpha and Omega felt like a whole new Busy Bone person altogether as well. The sound was a lot different than the previous two albums. It had its own thing, and it's kind of like that style is kind of stayed with Busy up until like 2000. I think once he did A Song for You, that began another era. But like
Absolutely.
I feel like Alpha and Omega.
And see what you're saying, that was Goodfellas right there too. Because Goodfellas 1 got leaked. Big Loke had told me what was going on. He said they had to repackage it because people were trying to leak the stuff without, you know, because they were, you know, moving street tapes at that point. They were moving street tape style with the music at that point, and then making it available by order. You know what I mean? So it might have been in the Slim Jewel case, but they already was ahead. They were always, the Bone fam was, our Bone gang was always ahead of its time. We're always ahead of our time. You know, that's why we're here. We're constantly walking with the gods and the queens of earth. You know what I'm saying? So even with that being said, you got to remember Chase the Cat Productions from the Creeping on a Come Up era. studio rap. Yeah, that's a part of that whole people to come up. So when people are like, oh man, a lot of my people over in the Indiana state, they're like, oh man, I love that Busy because it sounds like he recorded in his bedroom. And it's like, well, if you think about people on the come up, it was just a mastering process that made that compatible with everything that was out because it was raw and rugged. And that's one of the qualities of that EP. Other than that, it was basement and underground is all get out.
Really?
And
so Creeping on the Come Up was no kidding.
Yeah,
wow.
That's the thing. Like, see, Creeping on you guys tapped into it. It's just that, you guys are such researchers. You're everywhere the way we are in the music game. So it takes just these small little excerpts to fill in everything you guys kind of already knew in your heart. Like everything, like you said, with the Faces of Death, all that was accurate. I've heard a lot of y'all stuff, too. And that's why I have the utmost respect for you, because you're absolutely right. By the time the Faces of Death came along, all they did was went mainstream. It was like Backstreet Boys or Immature going IMX with their sound. Everything you guys said about Mills, about, Hellson and all that is exactly what took place on Creeping on the Come Up, but on a more polished, subliminal, let them do their thing, be grown men how they want to do it level. You feel me? And Easy knew this. And Easy was good for EPs. That's the thing. See, that's where we're going back to, even with the singles. So when you say things like the singles were good, see, we knew by our uncles, our elders of bone, how to really move. And this is the thing that it's happening in a more feverish rate, because if you remember I'm late 70s, early 80s. So if you remember like that Prince and all the stuff they would drop, 4 songs on one side, 4 songs on the other. 4 songs that's an album. 4 songs was an EP. Now it's getting to the point to where 6, 7 songs was an EP, but with like Nasir Jones or Nas, now that's about to be an album quoted in the industry. They're about to go back to that. But the thing is that music is traveling so fast, they're still not going to be able to put a realm on it like they used to, because it depends on who likes who. If I like Jay-Z and I want to hear 15 songs from Jay-Z, I'm going to cop every song. If I like Busy and I want to hear 15 songs from Busy, I'm going to cop every song. Now, my little big brother, Lil Busy, look what he's done. He did So, Son of a Legend, 5 songs. That's an EP. Or like Nocturnal, who our uncle Dr. Dre produced, it's a mini album. You can flip it either way. Then he did Manifest, which is 5 more songs, which you were seeing it as a single, but you didn't know it. Now that's another mini album or an EP, to the point to where he could either do 1 or 2 things or more, depending on where he's thinking. He could put those 10 songs together like Scooty did with, Don't You Ever Forget Me. Put out 5 songs first, then put on 10 more, tack on 10 more. Now you got a whole 15-song album. Or you turn around and you just make them separate mini albums and put out 10 whole new songs. It just all depends on how stuff is trending. You feel me?
Yeah, I think the single route, well, to your point, Easy did have a good run there with 5150, 187 Dre, and then even Creeping on a Come Up was kind of like an EP, almost an LP. And,
right.
Yeah. So I got a question about, I don't know if you know enough, I've been trying to find the answer on just a background on the Ouija board DVD, because it seems like that was supposed to come out when Ruthless came out, because it's kind of like the same songs as the Ruthless album, right? So,
yeah, I'm going to give you you're going to love this, man. I hope you guys got your pens and pads, because, you guys might want to pre-record. Well, it ain't out here, but when we drop it, though, this is some stuff that who knows if it gets snatched down or not. So y'all better make sure that when y'all hear this, y'all pre-record it over something else, because what I'm about to give you is going to blow your mind. Now, I know from a strong, reliable source, because I'm not all about just trying to drop names to be important, but I want the fans to know, because the more y'all know, the better y'all feel about everything. And so if anybody wants to come after anybody, they don't have to come out none of the uncles or anything. They can come after me and get their head fucking chopped off. You know what I'm saying? Because whatever reason I'm here for, I'm here for. I didn't ask to be here in the sense that I grew up out the womb one day and said, I want to be with Bone Thugs and Harmony. I didn't do that. I just know that this was an avenue for a thug like me at the time to get in and fit in, and that's what we did. So nevertheless, basically, originally, from what I understand from the elders and the monks thereof, as Busy was the great producer that he was in his heart and spirit, he had, what we understood was the label had intentions. When I say label, I mean, 7 Signs, anything in that realm off of Motas, had intentions of taking whatever artist they had taken upon themselves. They were going to make sure that they dropped a project with a DVD with videos for every song. So let that sink in. Let that sink in now, and let your mind run wild with you. So let's just go to the alternate universe where Age of Apocalypse took place, not that bullshit movie they put out, but the real Stan Lee shit that the motherfuckers put together. Let's just picture Scale dropping an album, and with that comes a DVD with a video to every song, even if it don't come out on the TV. Do you know how revolutionary that would have been? At the time that it come out. So imagine them having the power that they needed, like Master P, and not even Master P did that. So when we see what Busy finally was able to do, he still trailblazed. He still did what needed to be done. So that's exactly what Ruthless was, and that's why it was called Ruthless, because he was taking everything back to the essence of the original plan. You know what I'm saying? And so all it was up to us to do was just follow that plan, follow that tutelage, those scrolls, those instructions. You know what I'm saying? Before leaving the earth in the spiritual form. So that's what we've done. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what Ruthless was all about. And all praise to the one for that, because Ruthless, man, it was a beautiful time. I distinctly now check this out. This is how Ruthless really affected us and the fam, in the tribe. Like, it tripped me out so much, Big L, because it was like, on one end, when I would talk to the homies, because they're like a few steps ahead of me in eldership to the generation. Even though some of the members of Seven Sign the Second may not be older than me or right at the age, I still give them that elder love because they're like big blood cousins to me and all that because they were there first. So I give them that respect. So on one end, I'd be like with Baby Phil, I'd be like, yo, man, so which album you bumping and all this? It would be so crazy because Baby was like the G. He was like the gangster, the gangster thug, right, to the streets. But he would be listening to a song for you. That was his shit, the whole album, because you can remember they came out around the same time. They had been promoted since B had the bald head, which we'll get to that in a minute. But then I'd be over there with King Josiah, and I'd be like, yo, which one you bumping, fam? I was bumping them both. He's like, yo, man, I'm bumping that Ruthless. But you would think that because of their styles, that Josiah would have been listening to a song for you, and Baby Phil would have been listening to Ruthless, but it was the other way around. And that is the Thug and Harmony mythos. That is the Thug and Harmony way. You feel me? If you Thug and Harmony on the outside, you got to have some harmony on the inside. If you harmony on the outside, you got to be ready for war on the inside.
Beyond the harmony for the fans, we celebrate. I'm putting the videos every